Well, John, what bullshit excuse are we going to use for this long gap?
I have a strict no bullshit policy, and so really just real life got in the way.
Are we still doing the quarantine edition?
Yeah, it's still gonna be the quarantine edition, despite what some people want us to believe. I just think we reopened too soon, and you wanna know what happens? We get alien invaders like the Predator.
Well, it certainly, I don't know about where you live, but it certainly has been hot enough. Remember, they only show up during heat waves.
Mm-hmm. I'm currently in a heat wave.
Yeah, so are we. It's 80 degrees right now, and where I am, it's 8:30. So.
All right, so that was a good improvised segue. We are going to be talking about the 80s action classic Arnold Schwarzenegger blockbuster hit Predator.
Woo!
This is another childhood favorite, or I guess maybe more teenage favorite, because I came across this when I was in high school, but I only first heard of Predator from the Alien vs. Predator movie. I didn't want to see that because I didn't like to be scared at that time. Ian, is this your first time seeing Predator?
Yeah, at the exact time we're recording it is 8:38. I hit the credits at 8:25 or whatever time I messaged you to let you know. About
8:25, 8:22 if you want to be anal.
8:22 exactly. That's when I finished the movie.
So yeah, what'd you think of it?
Well, pretty decent. I see why people like it. I prefer Alien more, but I like Terminator. I enjoyed it. It was roughly 2 hours well spent.
You mean Predator?
Predators. Shut up! It's my day off this week.
Summer's pretty busy for the zoos.
Oh my gosh, it's so bad. Even with the pandemic, I still have to work, and people keep showing up. So at least I have a job. Look at it that way.
I had no idea that zookeepers were actually essential employees.
Well, someone's got to take care of the animals.
Touché. Okay. All right. So, honestly, Predator is kind of the nice opposite of Alien, but I think that's more of a topic of discussion best for Alien versus Predator, because there was something I've noticed with that, or something just clicked in my mind when I saw those anniversary short films for Alien, which you recommended to me, Ian.
Woo! We'll review those another time.
some other time. But Predator, yeah, that was the first of the Alien versus Predator in the Alien versus Predator series that I saw, which I kind of like. It's simple action. It's horror. There's some 80s special effects, and of course you got a bunch of burly testosterone laced men fighting an alien. You got Arnold Schwarzenegger. You got Carl Weathers, otherwise known as Apollo Creed for all you film fanatics. From Rocky. But which just reminded me a piece of trivia. Let's see. You got Jesse Ventura. And actually you have Shane Black, who's directed movies like Lethal Weapon and The Predator. Recently is in this movie. So yeah, this is nothing but testosterone to the brim.
Yeah, this is really just, from what I understand, it's pure teenage 80s.
Mm-hmm.
From what I understand of the 80s. I feel like a lot of teenagers snuck out of their house to go watch this movie with their bud.
A lot of well, I don't know if they probably did in the 80s. I know like I said, I was in high school when I first came across this movie, so yeah, you're not wrong about who the target demographic is for this movie. But I think but of course the star of this movie is not Arnold Schwarzenegger himself, even though he does get top billing. He's on the front cover. No, the real star is the alien, otherwise known as the Predator itself.
Yeah.
And he's terrifying. He's terrifying. He's cool when he's masked, terrifying when unmasked. But even then, still cool. So, Ian, do you know who actually did the special monster effects in this movie?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
The late and great
and legendary.
I'm blanking on his name. God damn it.
Stan Winston.
There it is. I'm just gonna go cover my head in shame. I was drawing a blank on Stan Winston. Why am I even on this show anymore?
So people can check out your fossil videos.
I haven't done one of those in years.
Yeah. Or the Jurassic Park toy reviews.
I have one still rendering. I still never finished that.
Oh,
I haven't
boy.
uploaded a video since what did we do last? Venom? I haven't done anything since Venom. Oh my goodness.
Hey man, we all gotta keep ourselves busy. Sometimes it's gotta be more than just one thing.
Yeah, for me right now, it's work. I'm gonna put my personal life and what keeping me busy aside. I'm gonna talk about this movie now and try not to make a fool out of myself.
Okay, I'm gonna start the timer right now.
Okay.
Alright, so the plot of Predator, well, there's not really much of a plot, really, but Dutch Schaefer, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, is called over to South America. Him and his team are told to do a rescue operation. When it turns out they've been lied to actually kill some guerrilla soldiers that were planning an uprising. But that only lasts about like 10 minutes. When they try to get back, they start getting picked off one by one by this invisible entity in the forest. And so now the rescue slash killing operation turns into a survival mission. And as it turns out, this invisible entity is actually an alien that hunts dangerous animals for sports, even collecting their skulls for trophy displays. All that's left. Arnold is the only one who's left, or Dutch. Let's call him by his character name. Is Dutch, and what follows is a grand climactic battle between two of the strongest warriors in the jungle, and only one comes out on top. spoiler alert, Arnold. But you know, he does. But you know, it wears him out, and he has to run away from a gigantic nuclear explosion. While the Predator laughs at him. Good God! When I first saw that, that scared me.
I can't hold back anymore. It was a firefight.
Boondock Saints. Yes, it was a firefight and a fist fight.
Yes.
Man, and like I said, yeah, this movie is pretty awesome. The creature design is really awesome. Apparently James Cameron is the one that suggested giving him those pincers for the mouth.
The mandibles. I thought that was
the mandibles. That's it.
Are you sure that was James Cameron?
I thought I think I heard somewhere around that it was James Cameron.
I thought it was Stan Winston that was his personal touch on it.
I know Stan Winston is the one that designed the animatronics, but I could have sworn that maybe I heard somewhere that James Cameron was the one who kind of suggested mandibles, you know, because they were probably because you know at around the same time I'm pretty sure Stan was working on the Alien Queen for his movie.
Let's see. Cameron suggested he'd always wanted to see a creature with mandibles, which you were correct, yeah. You were correct, it was Cameron.
Okay. Alright, so yeah. And let's see. Oh yeah. And the actor who played the Predator, that wasn't, and he wasn't on stilts. He really is taller than Schwarzenegger himself, at about 6'9".
Holy shit!
Yes, his name is Kevin Peter Hall. He's actually best known he would reprise the role of the Predator alien in the sequel with Danny Glover, and he also played Harry, the monster from Harry and the Hendersons, which it's a movie I know exists, and I know it's kind of an 80s classic, but I've never seen it.
It's alright. I've seen it. It's alright.
But sadly, I found out that he passed away in 1991 at the age of 35.
Ooh.
He contracted AIDS from a blood transfusion and succumbed to it.
Ooh.
I know, so really sad, because this guy could have had a very good career in being these imposing creatures. Like I could probably see him as Slender Man.
Ooh. God damn it.
Food for thought. All right. I pretty much just rambled as much like I usually do. Ian, which one? Since you saw this for the first time, which one what stuck out to you the most besides the alien?
I really enjoyed how they played up the suspense. I really enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
And how they built up this creature and it keeps picking people off, and you get little hints as to its behavior and what it does. You get glimpses of its armor and its tools that it has.
Mm-hmm.
And I really, really like that, because that's something I don't see too much in movies nowadays.
Yeah, they don't. It is pretty much all about the quick jumps, the quick jump scares, and that kind of thing. I have to agree with you. Yeah, it was the way they built up this creature was was pretty good, especially also when it comes to the scene where he like removes his mask.
Oh yeah.
And I think the music also helps a little bit. I don't know if you do pay attention to the score, Ian, but this music was composed by Alan Silvestri, and he's the guy who actually made the Avengers theme.
Ooh.
And Back to the Future.
Oh.
My favorite 80s movie.
We need to review that trilogy at some point. That's on the list.
I know. I think we've said that several times on the show.
We have, and we still haven't. We should do it in October.
October 2020.
We're 5 years late, dude.
Technically, this is like the 30th anniversary. This would be the 30th anniversary of part 3.
We gotta sneak that in the schedule somewhere.
Okay. Someday.
Yeah, someday.
Sometime this year, yes.
Yeah. Jeez. But going back to Predator, I was just waiting because I keep putting this off. I keep wanting to watch The Lost World, Jurassic Park again, and I was just watching Predator going, if they run into the long grass, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it.
I know Arnold slid in the long grass.
That doesn't count. They have to run into the long grass. If they did that, I was gonna yell it out. But
so, do you remember from the Total Recall broadcast that Arnold had to have his food catered because the last movie that he was in that was filmed in Mexico gave him food poisoning.
I think it was this movie.
It was this movie. This is the infamous movie where the end result is great, but just making it was such a hassle, because not only did they have ill-prepared food that gave everyone food poisoning, so they were dehydrated as all hell, but they were in a humid jungle, and they were sweating. They were sweating so much. The days were hot, the nights were freezing cold. Arnold had to shoot the last half of the movie at night in pottery clay, which made it even colder.
Oh, good gosh.
I just saw this on IMDb. Let's see, where is it? There we go, yeah. Let's see. He shivered non-stop and when they tried to heat him with lamps, it would just make the clay dry out. He tried drinking Jaeger tea, which is a schnapps mixture, to warm him up, but that just got him drunk. Oh, boy. So yeah, so if you want a movie that is just like, if you want to know what movie making is like as a pure hell, just look at the trivia of IMDb for Predator, because wow, I don't even know if the actors for Jurassic Park or Avatar had this much trouble.
Well, Jurassic Park had some problems. I'm aware of that. Avatar. I don't know.
Well, then again, James Cameron just took the avatars on a trip to Hawaii, so they could have the memory of, the humidity and the trees and the forests, have that memory on it, because since the whole movie was pretty much filmed in a closed off set, so the trip was meant so they could get have could remember what it's like to, be in the jungle and humid, with the humidity, that kind of thing. It's all about memories for that. But all right, but through all that hell, I mean, it did give us some great results. We got a great movie monster, and we got a few good one-liners from Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Get to the chopper!
Which, yep, and man himself said that's actually his favorite line of all time. I don't know about you, but I like, put that cookie down now. And and the stick around. Remember? Oh boy, that was actually improvised.
Oh boy.
Yep. Oh boy. Okay, so we've hit the dead end. We hit the wall a little bit. All right, what do you think? You know what is actually does what else kind of sets Predator apart from Alien is you actually see from the alien's point of view.
Yeah.
You see from the Predator's point of view, and you kind of see how he sees things.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I always like getting into the head of something that's not human. I love that. I'm using it for one of my books I'm working on. It's long in production, but I love getting into the head of things like that and having them do inhuman things and just basically treating the book like a film and twisting the camera and taking you for a ride. And the first thing we know about the Predator is that it sees thermal imaging. It sees infrared, kind of like a rattlesnake. And but the thing, I think my favorite part from his point of view is like after the raid on the enemy camp, and the soldiers leave, and then we just see his point of view, and he's walking around, and you just hear all the sounds that he's heard and recorded, and it's kind of creepy, especially when you hear Billy's laugh. That really deep. Well, that's where now you know where the laugh came from. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he walks over to the dead scorpion, and when its hand enters frame, then the music just goes. Whoa! And it's grabs the scorpion, and you just see it fade to black, and it just hit me. It's the Predator is holding a dead predator, right?
Yeah.
That's just it. That's just the connection. It's like it's almost like it's sort of a low key metaphor for like nature getting back. kind of like what the Japanese Godzilla was meant to represent. It's like nature punishing mankind for like creating the bomb. This is the nature, or by extension the jungle, punishing the soldiers for bringing guns and war and drugs into its territory. But really it's just a psycho alien that hunts for sport.
And apparently the optical effects were done by R. Greenberg Associates.
Oh, I am so glad you brought up the optical effects.
Oh boy, what can of worms did I open now? Go ahead.
All right. Now, it's okay. So it's all jumbling all in my head. So I'm just trying to organize it. The supervisor for all of the visual effects, so mostly the Predator's camouflage, was actually overseen by a man named Joel Hynek. Now, normally I would not make such a big deal about this, but I found out earlier this year that this man is a little special. Joel Hynek has pretty much mostly remembered for his effects in Predator, but also in the Robin Williams movie What Dreams May Come. But that's not what really makes him special. He's special because he is the son of J. Allen Hynek, an astrophysicist, astronomer, and high school professor. Now J. Allen Hynek is actually well known and well respected in a certain sect of the scientific community. I'm waiting for you to say which scientific community.
Go on.
Okay. All right.
I swear, if you say Scientology, I will slap you.
Oh, come on. I said scientific community.
I'm waiting for the punchline.
All right. J. Allen Hynek from the 40s to the 60s was actually part of a U.S. Air Force government operation, one of them being Project Blue Book, where they would investigate claims of UFOs, and some of them would be, most of them would be debunked. This is the man that literally wrote the book and the classification system for Close Encounters, that in turn became Spielberg's movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to look this guy up now. Thanks for that. More reading I need to do. Great.
So when I say certain sect of the scientific community, I am talking about
astrobiology.
Astrobiology, alien, astroscientific. That kind of stuff. And so that's why I thought it's kind of funny that J. Allen Hynek wasn't, searched scientifically, either debunked or could not explain the so-called alien phenomenons, and his son worked as a visual effects supervisor for one of the most iconic movies about an extraterrestrial.
Okay. I like it. I wonder if he went to his dad. Do you know if his dad was still alive while he was working on this movie?
You know what? I do not know. See, I know he was alive in the 70s because he actually makes a cameo appearance in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Let me see. J. Allen Hynek. Nin 1986. Maybe. Movie came out in 1987. It does take a little bit of time to film a movie. So maybe. That might have even been a little funny conversation. Hey dad, you'll never guess what movie I'm working on. What is it? A movie about an alien.
What exactly do you know?
Oh boy,
I would love to be in the room for that conversation. That sounds like a bucket of chuckles.
Yes. It is. So, yeah, so when we got... So, and this is something that's been cooking up in my brain since we said, let's review Predator. So with that kind of out of the way, how about the fun part of the invisibility? Like, how did they pull that off?
Oh, I got it. That's actually directly below here.
Well, I kind of do know how they pulled it off. I saw the special features, but...
No, shut up, John.
But yeah, if there's any upcoming filmmakers who want to know how they did it, well, that's what we're here for.
Yes. Quotes from Wikipedia. The invisibility effect was achieved by having someone wearing a bright red suit, because it was the farthest opposite of the green of the jungle and the blue of the sky, the size of the predator. The red was removed with chroma key techniques, leaving an empty area. The take was then repeated without the actors, using a 30% wider lens on the camera. When the two takes were combined optically, the jungle from the second take filled the empty area. Because the second take was filmed with a wider lens, a vague outline of the alien could be seen, with the background scenery bending around its shape.
That's actually almost word for word on the trivia. No, okay, not almost. It is. It is exactly word for word on the trivia
Wikipedia.
for IMDb. Yeah, but that's that's on IMDb. So someone copied and pasted.
Let's see. Source number 16.
Where?
References. Source number 16. Robbie Les Paul, December 1987. Predator special visual effects. That's their source for that. So they probably just used the same source or something.
All right. Or, someone copied from Wikipedia and pasted it onto IMDb.
Perhaps.
But so yeah, that's that's how the effect was done, and so it was all red, and it actually kind of looks when you see the original film reels, it actually looks kind of funny because essentially it's a guy in red pajamas running in this jungle. But hey, filmmaking is kind of more funny and weird than awesome.
Yeah.
But now that's it. But the Predator invisibility effect, that's actually something I want to do for my upcoming YouTube series. And the thing is, you don't really need, if you want to, you don't really have to do the whole red suited thing. All you would need is a green screen. But it'd be a little more difficult though. There'd be a little bit of difficulties, but yeah, it's actually a little bit more easier to pull off nowadays because now everything's digitized. I'm always kind of amazed how movies from the pre-digital age are actually able to pull off these special effects. Because it does require a lot of knowledge and a lot of ingenious workarounds. So the thing about the lens, that the whole 30% wider lens, I just thought that's genius. That is just absolute genius. And let's see. You know what? We didn't talk about the only female in this movie.
Yeah.
Well,
Back up.
dang. What was her name?
Anna.
Anna. Jeez.
She doesn't do too much.
She doesn't do too much, but she does. No, but she does provide like information to these soldiers. She kind of even builds up the creature, like it has its own lore.
It does a little bit, yeah.
Something that would be that creators and artists would be using for like the comics and future movies. It's awesome. I like movies that just give like a little piece of world building. It's kind of almost similar to of course the xenomorphs in Aliens.
Yeah. I'm drawing a blank. What do we go to now?
You're drawing it. I have no idea. I mean, this is a movie that's not really all that deep.
Not really.
I mean,
it's a very basic movie.
It's a basic blockbuster that would make Michael Bay proud, but even he can't live up to.
No.
So, sorry, I know that's low-hanging fruit.
That's fruit on the ground, dude. That fruit's already on the ground.
I know. I'm practically kicking a dead horse with this. So, yeah, Predator is not really that deep when it comes to the first two Alien movies, like when we talked about them. But that's actually kind of okay, because really we're kind of, because when it comes to Arnold Schwarzenegger, I mean, for Arnold Schwarzenegger, I mean, Total Recall aside, we're not really looking for anything that deep.
Yeah. This is the third Arnold movie we've done on the show so far.
Let's see, Terminator and Total Recall, yeah. And now Predator. That's why I said I get the feeling that that most of the movies we reviewed are either going to be 80s or Arnold Schwarzenegger related.
Something like that. Except for the next one. Stay tuned to the end.
Oh, yes. Oh man, I can't wait for that one. I think the next review is actually going to be a little bit more different, because I really think we could have a lot of overlapping conversation.
We got to make that like a 2-hour special, because that's an oldie and a goodie.
I don't know about if it does go over 2 hours. I'm splitting it into 2 parts.
Fair enough. 45 minutes each. Part 1, part 2.
Okay. All right. So I guess gonna be cutting it short for this time.
I know.
So,
I can't think of much. It's not overly deep. It's a fun romp. That's how I can sum it up. It's a fun romp.
It's fun. It is fun. I don't know. Maybe if we review the sequel, we might have a lot more to talk about.
Perhaps, yes. But I mean, Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's fun. I can recommend it after my first viewing. You might enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. And so let's see. Out of 10, what do you give it?
I gotta say it's a 7. It's decent.
A 7? A 7? All right. I give it an 8 out of 10. It's an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. You get what you paid for, but it is really great. It is an iconic action movie from the 80s.
Mm-hmm. I think it's one of those movies that you need to watch at least once.
Mm-hmm. At least once, and if you don't, if you don't particularly like it, that's okay. But if it's something that makes you go, oh man, I want to see more movies like this, that's okay too.
Yeah. Everyone has their own taste. But yeah, Predator, it's fun.
Oh yeah, very fun. All right, so I think with that said,
this might be our shortest freaking review yet.
I'll have to take a look at the past reviews, because this might be the shortest one.
The shortest one, aside from this one, Star Wars Holiday Special.
What about the DreamWorks Dragon Holiday Special?
That actually, that might be the shortest one. That might be the shortest one.
Okay.
Although that wasn't a full-length feature film.
True. Yeah. This might be our shortest feature-length film review.
But it's fun, yeah. Like we said, check it out.
It's got good music, got a good creature design, good actors, and a good setting.
Get to the chopper!
Yes, and some iconic lines. So with that said, join us next time. We're here on Nerdvana Podcast. Yes.
Dun 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 dun. Yes.
We're gonna need a bigger boat.